Hey everyone, today I'm going to go over the new and extremely exciting news that we have for Atelier Marie remake The Alchemist of Salburg, which is set to release onto the Nintendo Switch on July 13th. If you're fans of the Atelier series, you know that this is a complete remake of the very first Atelier game that was released all the way back on PlayStation 1 and ended up getting ported to the Sega Saturns and the Windows consoles, pretty much PC back in the day. So certainly it was one of those games that didn't probably get all the love that it should have deserved at the time of launch, but since then the Atelier series has had, I believe, over 20 plus releases since then. You know, they went through a stretch where they were releasing almost a game a year, so the franchise has grown quite a lot, and with the upcoming release of Atelier Rise 3, is certainly gonna get much more love going forward. So today I wanted to go over pretty much all the brand new features that the developers have finally gone ahead and confirmed. Not only that, they gave us a couple of brand new gameplay clips, first and foremost showcasing combat and battle, how it is that you're pretty much going to be dealing with it. Also a little bit of the gathering, how they've reworked that completely, and of course synthesizing or alchemy as well. So certainly there's a lot to go over there. At the same time, a couple of brand new features have been added in. I'm going to be leaving a link in the description below for the official website, which was recently updated, and this is where all this information is coming from, directly from Koei Tecmo. First and foremost, they just simply mentioned that this is a carefree, cozy RPG adventure where Marie, a subpar student, aims to graduate as she tries to navigate alchemy, adventures, and requests. Atelier Marie, the origins of the Atelier series, has been fully reimagined and is carefree, cozy RPG adventure with many new elements included. A perfect introduction to the series for new players that can enjoy. When it comes to new features, this is the first thing that I do want to cover, is the fact that they are mentioning that they are now adding an unlimited new mode. Pretty much they mentioned that you can play at your own pace. In this mode, player can play without the deadline to graduate in 5 years, enabling those who want to enjoy the game at a relaxing Atelier life to play the game at their very own pace. Remember that the original set of games, maybe the first 15 or so games, had these really intricate timelines where you pretty much had to kind of like a deadline at the end of the game. You had to kind of meet it. If you didn't, you might have gotten a game over. Maybe you didn't get the best ending, whatever the case was. This game still has that, but they are now introducing an unlimited mode, which pretty much lets you kind of play until your heart's content. You're no longer tied to a timer or anything like that. The story does pretty much tell you that after 5 years you should be able to finish the game, kind of like every action takes days upon the timer or whatever. But that is no longer going to be the case if you're choosing to play with the unlimited mode. If you have been playing the most recent wave of Atelier games, like the Atelier Rise trilogy, you would be able to know that the kind of like every game now has this unlimited mode built in by nature, since the deadlines are no longer very stringent in that regard. So this is pretty much catering to both player bases, the ones that still want to have that limited time that they need to be able to get to the end of the game before a specific date in the game's calendar year, or you can just play at your own pace, which is always a good option. They also mentioned that new social events will be digging deeper into the charm of these characters. Additional events that allow the players to interact with the main characters that appear in the game will be added. These new events will show off a fresh personality and aspects and charms of the characters that were not included in the original game. So this is pretty much something that you have seen in many of the new Atelier type games, where you pretty much unlock social connections. The more you combat with a character, the more you have like linked up attacks. Maybe they attack together or something along those lines, craft things that they are requesting, upgrade their armor, whatever the case may be. You end up creating a social bond, very persona-like, if you will, and you end up getting these cutscenes, getting to know more about each one of the characters. And that is one of the brand new additions that they're adding to Atelier Marie remake, The Alchemist of Salburg. Now, the last major feature that they're also adding to this complete remake is the Professor Ingress task, where you don't know what to do next. Task can act like a little bit of a guide to help you into your way of success. The question is, what should you do next? That can be solved immediately, which with unique RPGs with high degree of freedom. So you can pretty much get a couple of suggestions, assignments, or whatever the case is, and know that you have a task at hand to be able to continue the story forward in a more guided fashion. back in the days when these games just pretty much kind of like provided you the gathering, the synthesis, and battles. You could approach it any way you want, but again, you had those timers. Now they give you a little bit of a guide to be able to have a better understanding as to how it is that you want to approach it. Now, one of the things that they don't necessarily mention on the website, but it has been mentioned in several articles, is of course that they have completely reworked the audio, so they are getting brand new voice lines and stuff like that for plenty of the characters. Not only that, of course, as you can see, the original game was a PlayStation 1 game, so this one is getting fully reimagined visually. Brand new physical assets, brand new engagements, brand new graphics. We are seeing the PlayStation 4 version, I believe, through the gameplay that we have seen, but the Nintendo Switch version shouldn't necessarily be too far off. Maybe just a resolution drop here or there, but nothing too out of the ordinary. Atelier Rise of games have run pretty well on the Nintendo Switch, so that's not really been a problem when it comes to these Atelier games running on the Nintendo Switch, at the very least for the last few entries. I remember maybe the first one that dropped, Eska and Lagi might have been it. I don't quite remember which one. That one originally had some issues, but since then they've kind of addressed that performance pattern problem that they had back in the day. At the same time, they also mentioned very quickly that the battles, you have plenty of monsters that will try to hinder you as you're gathering in different areas. You can hire adventurers in town to defeat the monsters together. When it comes to gathering, they mentioned that if you're running out of materials, not to worry. Go out to gather and you should be able to collect plenty of more, but if you choose to engage with monsters, you should be able to gather even more materials. And this all builds up to the synthesis or the alchemy system, where you can start the day in the Atelier, learn plenty of recipes, and synthesize tools, medicines, armors, the works. So certainly plenty of things that Marie is going to be able to do as she progresses through the story in a typical Atelier game fashion. But that's about all the information that I have for you guys today regarding Atelier Marie remake, The Alchemist of Salburg, which is set to release onto the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, and I believe PC Steam on July 13th. This is certainly going to be one of those games that I'm going to try my best to get a review code for. Certainly going to try to review it as it drops, since I am a big fan of the Atelier games. You have probably seen that I've dropped reviews for plenty of the Atelier games, and I will be reviewing Atelier Rise of 3 as well. So certainly looking forward to, at the very least, 2 Atelier games in 1 year. Certainly a big fan of that. I think the most recent one that I played was Atelier Sophie 2, which was a very big fan of, and certainly closing out the Rise of trilogy is something that I'm certainly looking forward to getting my hands on relatively very soon, which the game is set to drop, I believe, in a couple of more weeks. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up, and as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.